In an interview with Medium Authority magazine, Giovanna Silvestre said, "It's a never-ending journey of discovery. So instead of being afraid of confusion, why not see it as an opportunity?" That mindset perfectly captures the way Giovanna approaches life. From the glitz and glamour of Hollywood to the heart-wrenching decision to walk away from the family business, Giovanna has embraced the uncertainty and turned it into opportunity. Whether through her bold clothing line or her inspiring new book, she's carving her own unique path. Get ready to go on a journey with Giovanna Silvestre. Welcome to Journey with Jake. This is a podcast about adventure and how through our adventures we can overcome the challenges of life that come our way. While I expect you will learn some things about different adventures, this show will entertain you. Each episode will feature a different guest or guests as they share experiences and stories from the different adventures they have been on. Not only will you be entertained, but you will also hear the failures and trials each guest faces and what they have done or are doing to overcome the hardships that come their way. My goal is to take each of us on a journey through the experiences of my guests with the hope that you'll be entertained and inspired to overcome your day-to-day challenges. After all, it's not all about the destination as it is about the journey. Back to the show. I'm Jake Bushman, the host of Journey with Jake. Before we dive into my conversation with Giovanna Silvestre, just a quick reminder, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the show wherever you listen to podcasts. That way you won't miss any future episodes. I'd also really appreciate it if you took a moment to leave a rating and review. It helps Journey with Jake reach more listeners, and hopefully we can inspire a whole new group of people together. Don't forget, Journey with Jake is also on YouTube. If you prefer watching episodes, just head over to YouTube and search Journey with Jake podcast. While you're there, do me a favor and subscribe to the channel. I post full episodes along with shorts from current and even pre-YouTube episodes. Speaking of shorts, a great way to catch clips from past, present, and even future episodes is through my Instagram at Journey with Jake podcast. I also share personal stories and behind-the-scene content there, so feel free to give me a follow. Lastly, Journey with Jake is proud to be part of the Podmatch Podcast Network, a collection of independent podcasters covering everything from the arts and religion to politics and more. You can discover more great shows at podmatch.com/network. Now, let's talk about today's guest. I had an amazing and fun conversation with Giovanna Silvestre. She's incredibly relatable and shared her inspiring journey through the highs and lows of self-discovery. If you enjoy this episode, be sure to check out episode 126 with Beth Atencio, where we explore her path of self-discovery, complete with van life. All right, let's jump into my conversation with Giovanna Silvestre. I'm excited today. I have Giovanna Silvestre on the show with me today. Giovanna, welcome to Journey with Jake.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk to you. I was looking at your story a little bit, who you are, what you're doing. You've had quite a life already, and you're not old. I can tell you're not old. So you've done a lot of things already, which is fantastic. We're going to dive into that, your journey, who you are, some of your adventures. I know you've done some traveling and things like that, so I want to talk about some of that. Before we do that, though, I'd like to know kind of your background, kind of where you're from, where you grew up, that sort of thing, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so I grew up in San Luis Obispo, which is 3 hours north of Los Angeles, on the central coast of California. And my parents had an Italian restaurant there. My father was from Italy, and my mom's Irish American. And so that was a very wild household. It's feisty.
Quite the combo, right?
Yeah, so I grew up working in the family business, and I think that's probably where I got my entrepreneurial spirit. And I came to Los Angeles to go to USC and graduated from USC in international relations and a minor in global business. And then I started working in Hollywood. So totally, I didn't study film at all. But Hollywood is one of those industries where you can go into it, and if you are good at navigating people, which I think I was good at because I grew up working in my family's restaurant, and in a restaurant you'll see like 200 people in one night. I mean, where do you really go and interact with that many people in a day? So it was just it was a place just to really understand different personalities. And actually that's where my mother started believing in the phases of the moon, because on full moons she's like, everybody has this kind of attitude or this kind of attitude, and it all kind of be the same. So she really got into the phases of the moon, which I'm now totally into, and was watching the lunar eclipse last night, which was crazy. So, yeah, then worked in Hollywood for quite a few years and decided this wasn't for me. People are crazy.
Let's talk about Hollywood for a second then, because you go to USC, you're doing, what'd you say,
International relations.
international relations, and then some business as well. That's kind of what you're doing. Why Hollywood? Like, is it because you were in LA, because you're at University of Southern California? Is it just the access to it? Like, what made you kind of draw yourself to Hollywood?
Because it was the cool thing to do at the time. And I wouldn't say that now. Like, I wouldn't say now it's cool to go work in Hollywood. I think people are now seeing behind the curtain, and people can do their own podcasts and whatever from a little town in Ohio and have millions of views, and you don't even need to deal with these crazies. But at the time, I was in LA. It was the coolest thing to do. And podcasts, blog, all that stuff didn't exist yet when I got into the it was like, if you wanted to be in TV and film, you got to come to Los Angeles. If you want to be in entertainment at all, you got to come here. There was no other avenue for it. So I wanted to be part of the cool club and work in the industry. And it was really fun because, I was an assistant. So for some big wigs, so I would network with other assistants and we'd all go to parties together, and you'd have on your schedule to go meet somebody for a drink, and we'd all be talking about our boss's clients and what's going on. And it was kind of like this like underground little Hollywood community. And it was I have to say it was really fun. I went to some great parties. I did have a lot of fun until it just wasn't fun anymore. And I'm like, I don't like waking up every day. I'm just like pushing myself out of bed to go. I'd be nervous most of the time at work, and it just wasn't enjoyable. And I just didn't want to put myself through it anymore.
So you're having fun with it. You're enjoying it. You're learning a lot. I mean, you're right out of college, so it's probably a great experience to learn some things. You're meeting with these other assistants and having your own little networking things. And I mean, it almost sounds, kind of like the movies and the TV shows where you see them. I got a drink with so and so, and we're going to go out and meet for drinks and,
Yeah,
and
like
this and that.
Entourage
They're entourage. That's it. That's a great point.
was a hit years ago. I,
Hmm.
I don't think it would, like a show like Entourage would be cool anymore.
Wouldn't
You know
fall
what?
the same way.
Like Hollywood's definitely in a because I think people are disgusted with the ego. Like now you're even like the Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni case, Like that's like one of the things. And then you P. Diddy and Jay-Z and all these like so much is coming out, and people are just so disgusted by the way these people are acting and treating other people. And it
Yeah.
is disgusting. So I can't say I'm sad about this.
You mentioned it just, you got to a point where you're just like, enough's enough. But you also said something about, I don't know if you said it or how you worded it, but you were nervous or anxious or something. I mean, was it kind of a gradual thing, or did you just kind of one day you're like, man, this is not it? Or like, how did that, I mean, or did you just start feeling anxiety? What kind of happened?
Well, I was just living in a constant state of like high stress and nervousness, cuz your whole, especially as an assistant, your whole job is based around being perfect and pleasing your boss. And sometimes these bosses are not pleasable. And so you're just like bending over backwards doing cartwheels, and then I had in one of my movie projects I was working on, I had this other assistant that was really jealous of me and sabotaged me and ended up getting me fired off of that project. And I'm really sensitive too, so all these things really hurt me and stressed me out a lot. And so I just got tired of having to like push myself through my days. I did like the social aspect though. I really did like going to the Sundance Film Festival and going to the Cannes Film Festival. And when you're in it and you're going to those things, it's really magical and it's really fun. But I mean, honestly, that's the only thing that I
Yeah. So once you realize this is not for me, what did you do? How did you take a reset from that?
Well, I actually went home and I thought maybe, I'll take a break, figure out what I want to do and maybe I'm supposed to take over my parents' Italian restaurant. And then, one day I was working behind the bar in the restaurant and there was a guy sitting at the bar and then him and he was really cute, really nice guy, great job, and so I was like, okay, well, maybe I was in my mid 20s. I was like, maybe this is what I'm supposed to do. Maybe I'm supposed to, be with him and take over my parents' restaurant and that will be my life. And I did that for almost 2 years and I was miserable and I was like, this can't be my life. I do not want this. This can't be it.
You said your dad, he came straight from Italy then, right? Like he
Mhm.
immigrant
Yeah,
direct from Italy, starts this restaurant. I almost feel like with immigrants and maybe even children, you can tell me because you're a child of an immigrant, you kind of almost feel like a little debt, like you gotta maybe keep supporting the family thing. Did you kind of have that going on with you?
absolutely. I would even during college, I would drive home on the weekends and help them at the restaurant if it was going to be like a holiday weekend or a busy weekend. I would always come back and help. Yeah, definitely you felt that. And then when I was there working, then my dad had me with him. So my mom got to just be free and she was really loving that. So me leaving would mean that my mom would have to come back in and help. And that was going to cause a lot of chaos in the family unit.
So there's probably a little sense of guilt there too then.
Yes. Yes. But it just got so toxic that because my dad and I were butting heads, and I'm a daddy's girl, and we were butting heads a lot, and it just and then even I started butting heads with my mom, and I'm like, man, you should be a little nicer to me because I'm like helping you out here, lady, and I just was like, you know what, I'm not being true to myself. At the end of the day, this isn't for me. And I was even like with the guy I was dating, we were fighting all the time and I was just like, he's a great guy, but again, I don't think we were mature enough to be in a relationship with each other. And so I let it all go. I let go of him. I let go of the restaurant, and that was really hard for me because it was like, now what do I have? I like came back to LA with my tail between my legs and I'm like, okay, I don't want to work in the entertainment industry anymore because it's like torture and my family is unhappy with me and for leaving and I don't even have the support of a boyfriend anymore. And so I was like all alone in my apartment in LA and I fell into a depression.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about this because, yeah, you go off to Hollywood, you do the Hollywood thing. It's not going to work out. And that's fine. Things don't work out sometimes. You're still young. You go back, you gave it 2 years of your life trying to make it work with the restaurant as well.
Yeah,
That
I
didn't
gave
work
it a good
out.
go. I gave it a good go.
You gave it, absolutely, you did. You gave it a good go. And that's not working out. So I know at this point, you're probably got to be feeling frustrated. What's going on? It's not working out with my boyfriend. My parents are upset now. It's got to be frustrating. The depression. Yeah. What was that like? What's it like being in that situation, not knowing what you're going to do? And what did you do about it?
Well, I definitely felt this intense sense of self loathing and a lack of self worth. I felt like I had no worth. And what I realized is, and I also felt like I wasted my time. I'm such an idiot. All of this time, all those good years in my 20s where you have all this energy and you've just wasted on. And it's so funny because now I know that's just total BS. This is exactly what your 20s is for, is just trying things. And now I'm like, oh, I'm so happy I worked in the industry and got all that cool experience and did that. I'm so happy I tried the restaurant. And because now I realize you have so much time. But then I just thought, you have to have everything figured out by the time you're 29. So that's a big lie, everyone. Just letting you know, big lie. And so what I realized is when I was in this depression and my thoughts were just on a replay of all my shortcomings, I realized that I had attached all of my self-worth to things outside of me. Like I had attached my self-worth to working in Hollywood and I looked cool. Then I had attached my self-worth to, ooh, I'm going to be the owner of this restaurant and I have this like gorgeous, successful boyfriend. And But I didn't feel like I was worth anything. I only felt like I was worth something because of these, like these external things. And that had put me into a state of depression where I was like, if I don't figure out how to feel good in my body and feel good about myself, I don't want to be here anymore because this is awful. Like this feeling is just the lowest of the low. And so I was like, okay, we got and the one thing I am is very disciplined. I'm very disciplined. I think my mom always says that my Catholic schooling really with that. Because even with my mom, I'm like, why do you have like three rags in the sink? You should only have like one or just a sponge or. And then I was like, just do things like this and then they'll get done. And she's like, you know what? This is your Catholic schooling. And I paid for that. So that's why you're like, and so I'm like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. We gotta fix the inside because if we don't fix the inside, good is gonna happen on the outside. We've seen this.
Yeah. Well, and you said you didn't want to be here anymore. Like you didn't want to like be alive. Like what were when you said that? What is that? What you got to that point where you're like, this is dumb. I don't even want to be alive.
Yeah.
So what did it take for you to say, okay, I got to change what's inside? How do you get out of that? Because it seems so tough to get out of it when you're in
Well,
it.
well, what's interesting about getting to that point, like that low point, is you go and a lot of people think about it. A lot of people I didn't try it or anything, but I was thinking about it. Like, this doesn't change. Like, I gotta get out of here. This is too much. And once you start thinking like that, there's almost a liberation that happens inside of you because you no longer care what anybody else thinks. And the societal pressures, you're like, F you. You kind of go, F you to, having a perfect little family, F you to have a perfect career, F you for having a lot of money, all the things that you just kind of go, I don't care anymore because I feel so bad. And that's what kind of happened to me. And then the pressure was off. And that was a really good feeling. And then I went, okay, so I don't care anymore. So why don't we just figure out what's going to please you and what's going to make you happy and what you like and what you don't like. And so and what like things that help me get out of this,
Hmm.
really yoga was huge. Yoga was so huge because yoga would give me a mental break from the looping obsessive negative thinking. Yoga would really help me break from that. And so I started doing yoga all the time. I started meditating. I started writing in a gratitude journal, even though I wasn't grateful for anything. I like made myself. And there's a magic in making yourself do these things. But you're reprogramming your brain. It's like a muscle. It's like a muscle. And when you're at the gym and you're lifting this weight and at first it's you can't do it and then eventually you work up to it and then you could do it and it's easy and your muscles just do that and or like even like riding a bike. At first when you try to ride a bike it's really difficult, but then once you know how to ride a bike you're never forgetting how to ride a bike. You just get on there and you don't even think about it anymore. And that's actually what started to happen to me. Is it's like I started to train myself. When I'd have a negative thought, I would imagine like a burning trash can and I just like visualize putting the thought in the trash can and having it burn. And I would also do some letting go techniques where I would imagine, I write about this in my book. This is all this in my book. I would imagine I would walk on the beach because I live close to the beach in LA. And I would imagine that I had a backpack on that had all of the things I hated about myself or felt bad about or felt guilty about or felt shameful about. And it was like weighing me down. And then I would like put my back to the ocean and fling it off. Like it was just going into the ocean and, I let it go. And then eventually I let it go. And eventually I started to feel grateful. And now I kind of wake up grateful every day. Even if I wake up on the wrong side of the bed, it's not like I'll never go back to what it was before ever. That's just like never.
Amazing. I like hearing this because it does something for me. So I appreciate you and being vulnerable and sharing that because I like to see what people do and what they're doing. I do some things that are similar. I write in a gratitude journal as well. I like to get a little exercise in the morning, body movement. And you said you're disciplined. So I think when you made the decision, like, okay, and your discipline, I think helped because you're like, I'm going to write in this journal, even though I'm not thankful for anything at this point, or I'm not grateful for anything. And you did it. Same with the yoga. Where did this lead you? Where did you go from here?
Well, so I kind of had a spiritual awakening with all of this. And I woke up one day and I literally felt like I was on Molly. It was literally like I had a natural Molly high. And I went out into nature and like everything looked different. And I was like, whoa, this is crazy. And I was like
But
staring.
just to be clear, you weren't on Molly though.
No, I was
Okay,
not.
you just kind of had a
Yeah,
epiphany, so
no,
to speak. Okay.
I had not done Molly. I was not on a drug. I didn't even take a weed gummy or anything. Actually, back then weed was illegal. And this was all me. This was all me. And I do believe when you desire something and you like I was praying on it, I was visualizing, I was meditating on it, and I was working toward it. And especially when it's something noble, like I want to feel better in my skin. I want to feel worthy to like exist. Like the universe conspires to help you achieve that. Like the universe wants you to have that. And so they gave it to me. It was really crazy. And it was like I was getting better, I was getting better, I was getting better. And then one day I woke up and I was just like flooded with like joy and gratitude. And then I was on a high for a couple days and then it dissipated, but it never left me. Like it's never left me. It's like my level of internal peace or happiness, joy, whatever you want to call it. It went from like here to like here. And then it does just increase. And I don't even remember what this felt like anymore. Like I don't remember what this lower vibrational the way I was even felt like.
Do you remember though that day though that you woke up and felt like that?
Yes.
Were you in LA at the time? Like where were
I
you?
was in LA. I was in my apartment. I started jumping on my bed because I was just buzzing. I just woke up and it was like, phew. And I was like, oh, it's like everything I was doing integrated inside me. And because I was kind of living like a monk, I wasn't going out, I wasn't drinking, I wasn't partying, I was just very much concentrated on getting myself together. And yeah, I had this like, it was a crazy spiritual awakening. And then after that, things started to like my life kind of unfolded in a very magical way. And by also saying it was started to unfold in a very magical way, I'm not saying it was easy all the time and it didn't have, there was hardships. I mean, I still, even after this happened, I felt like I had a world of knowledge. I still met a sociopath and got, like who had a fiance the entire time he was dating me. And, that was painful to go through. And I still had I still made mistakes and things happened, but it was just, like everything, I don't know, it was just like there was this divine purpose to things and I felt good about myself while walking on my path. And I once I got out of the depression, I go, okay, I'm not depressed anymore, but I still don't understand why I'm here and what I'm supposed to do. So I started a video blog called Confused Girl in the City. And that was the thing to do at the time was the blogging. If I was starting something now, it'd be a podcast like but back then it was blogging. So I started a video blog and every week I would do something new I had never done before in an attempt to figure out who I was, why I was here, and what I liked, what I disliked. Cuz a lot of the things that we think we like and think we will enjoy and will make us feel fulfilled and happy, it's what we were told that we
Right.
should like and what we were told that would make us feel fulfilled and happy. And it actually is not the case.
So what were some of the things you did? Can you give a couple examples of like some of the things you did for your blog?
Yeah, so my first one, which I talk about a lot, but I talk about it because it is kind of iconic and it's symbolic to me, not iconic, symbolic to me. My roommate at the time was going bungee jumping and he said, do you want to come? And I go, oh my God, great. That'll be my new thing for the week because I've just started this video blog and I'm doing a new thing every week and this will be my thing. So I went bungee jumping, which was insane. And it was so scary. I'll never do it again. But I felt like now looking back, it was so symbolic of me jumping out into the unknown,
Taking the leap.
taking a leap of faith. And
Awesome.
yeah, and also, I didn't have so much confidence at this time because I felt like I didn't know who I was. So that kind of gave me a confidence, like, if I can jump off a bridge, I can do anything. So it also really gave me this confidence. And then I actually did the flying trapeze, which is also kind of scary, but really fun. I did that in Santa Monica. And these things, if you go on Groupon, you can
Mhm.
find a ton of things that are discounted. It's not like you need to have a lot of money to do these things. And I just posted a video on my Instagram talking about how I believe, because people go, well, what is confidence? How do you get confident? And I'm like, I think confidence is putting yourself outside of your comfort zone and knowing that you'll be able to handle yourself. That builds confidence, is knowing I can handle myself, or I like, and that could be even just, doing a dancing class, going into a dancing class where you don't know anybody and you feel weird and you got to dance with random people. And that's like really stepping outside of your comfort zone. But once you do that, it's like, oh gosh, okay, I feel stronger in myself.
Something I always ask all of my guests, and you're kind of saying what a lot of them say. I always like to ask the question, what does adventure mean to you? And it kind of, you're almost describing like what a lot of them say. It's going out of your comfort zone. It's doing something, it's getting out of the norm. Do you kind of equate the two? Do you think adventure's kind of that as well? What's adventure to you? We'll just hit it now.
Yeah, I think adventure is that, and just like opening up yourself, like even your soul, to being curious, to the unknown, and also being able to recognize the divinity in things. Like for instance, my mom and I, well, I would say one of the like last adventures I had recently was my mom and I are planning my book launch party. So we went to the bookstore that my publishing company set up in Culver City and talked to them. And then I was like, well, I want to throw my party at the Culver Hotel because it's like an iconic hotel in Los Angeles. It's old Hollywood. It's gorgeous inside. It has a speakeasy. It's like this is going to be such an awesome event. So we go there, and my father passed away 2 years ago. And my dad was the one, my parents owned a restaurant. He was the one that would plan the events. He would be like, don't talk, I got this because I'll get the best deal, kind of thing. And so my mom and I were like, oh, this is weird without Papa. And the Culver Hotel is like the food is kind of all American, it's not Italian. And then we say we want to talk to the event manager. And so the event manager comes out and she's from Italy. And my mom and I were like, and then we ended up all three crying because she lost her father a few years ago too. So all three of us were like emotional. And my mom and I, and she said, oh, don't worry. I'm going to hook you guys up. I'll even give you like a comped hotel room for that night so you can just drink and then stay here. And my mom and I, we literally got in the car and we were just silent. Like, oh my God, that was my dad. That's so crazy. And then my mom and I went out and just partied together all day. Oh my God, it was crazy. We ended up going to this one bar and then talking to this older man, and then his friends came in, and then they're buying us drinks, and then the party just continued. We just had like the best time. And the next day we were just so giddy about like the whole night. And my mom's like, well, it's good we only go out once a month because when we go out, we really go out. And I'm like, yeah. But I think that was an adventure. And it was because you just open yourself up to the universe and just the magic of life.
Love that very much. That's fantastic. I did want to ask you because I know, when you kind of left, and it sounds like your relationship with your parents is still great though, even after you were, it might have been a little tension there when you left the business or whatever, but it sounds like things got better as far as that goes with your family.
Oh, yeah. I mean, families, it goes up and down.
For sure.
Well, like I love my parents. I'll always love my parents no matter what. So, and they love me no matter what too. So there might be tension or whatever. And then, but we come back together in the end. Like nothing. Yeah. And I've been really mad with both of them at times, like really upset, but at the end of the day, they're not like my dad's not here. My mom, like I know is not going to be here forever either. And I want to enjoy them and love them.
Absolutely. Take advantage of that while you can. Okay,
Yeah.
so you talked about the Culver bookstore and because obviously you got a book coming out. I want to dive into that book, but before we get to that, I think you started the blog. So did you just kind of build and you just started getting a fall? Like what happened, and then where did you go from there? Because I think if I'm not mistaken, you got a clothing line going as well. Like what do you got
Yeah,
going on?
yeah. So, okay, so I was doing the blog and then I was working part-time gigs because I didn't know, I didn't want to invest all my time into something when I didn't even know what I really wanted. So, I was just doing my blog and working part-time gigs, and then I got this interview to go interview with this healer, this famous healer in LA for his YouTube. He needed someone to interview him for his YouTube channel. So I go, and then oh my gosh, him and I had the craziest connection. We ended up not even talking about about the job at all. We ended up just talking about our lives. And then he gave me these two gigantic crystals. And I didn't know anything about crystals, but I was, on my spiritual journey and I was doing yoga. And I just thought these were so gorgeous. I was like, wow, like Mother Nature's creations are the best. And so I was meditating one day and I had a vision of creating a yoga wear line inspired by healing crystals. And this is also before everybody was making yoga clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was just Lululemon, a couple niche brands and Lululemon. Nobody knew of them. Like only only yogis knew of them.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And so I was like, I'm going to do this. So I'm kind of like an OG of yoga leggings. And in the brand, I hustled again. That was its own journey of hustling around, figuring out how I was going to sell them. One summer, I went all around LA and set up booths at all these open markets to sit there all day, not make any money. My dad would even come to LA to help me. And it was depressing.
Did you know anything about fashion or anything like that, or is it just you just
Nope.
like had this vision and thought, "Wow, okay, that's amazing too."
Yeah.
The fact that you're just
I'm
like,
like, I can go see now it's just a totally different ballgame because you can just create things online from drop shipping companies and stuff. But back in the day, it wasn't like that. So I met with all the manufacturers in downtown LA that did dye sublimation printing. That was the printing that I needed for this. And they were all Korean men owners. And they did not give me a deal. But then I found there was a Chinese family and they gave me the deal. And I was like, okay, the Chinese actually and the Italians are pretty good together. Like they're in the cities, they're always like their neighborhoods are like right
yeah,
next to each other. I was like, okay, this makes sense. And so they were wonderful. I love them so much. They would actually do a lot of things and not charge me as well. Like they were
helping you
fantastic.
out.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
were really helping me out. And they made it possible. I was about to give up and be like, I can't afford it. And then they made it possible. So I started doing that. And then uh yeah, and then I used Instagram. Instagram at the time, this is 12 years ago. It was way more open.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to message people. Like nobody then was doing direct message marketing. And I was sending messages to girls that did yoga and all over the world. My first two sales were, this is crazy, Canada and South Korea. My first two sales. And I was like, I have an international business. And
Hey, there's that international degree you got coming into play.
there you go. And then I sold them all over the world. And I mean, I would see them. I would see them in Venice Beach. Saw my leggings in Culver City. I saw this girl that interned for me. She saw them on a girl in Munich, Germany, riding a bike. She messaged me. And so it was really cool. It was about 5 years of that. And during that time, I didn't know how to scale. I was trying to, but that door wasn't opening up like scaling. And I was trying to like figure out like how I could do it. Door was not opening. So I'm like, okay, well, and then I was driving home one day to visit my parents and I got inspiration to write a book. Like the inspiration hit me. It was like, you're going to write a book. And then I got like all excited and joyful and I thought, okay, I'm writing a book. But I don't want to write the book in Los Angeles. I want to write the book in a different country. I want this to be totally inspired. I want to be relaxed. I do not want to be on the hamster wheel. So I made my business completely mobile. It took me a year. and rented out my place, took my valuables to my parents' house, and then I took off for 2 years with just a suitcase and a backpack and my laptop.
Wow. Where did you go?
I went to Bali for a year. Bali is amazing. And yes, I was trying to do my own eat, pray, love, okay? Okay, so everyone can laugh at me, it's fine. And it was amazing. And so I was in Bali for a year and then I was in Berlin for a year.
Wow. Okay. So you spent the 2 years writing your book.
Yes. Most of it was done in Bali. A little
Okay.
I finished it. I finished it in Berlin.
Okay. So you go to Bali. You're working remote basically. You're running your business kind of remote. You're writing your book. I think of Bali, Indonesia. And I think yoga seems. Is it big there? I mean, it seems like it is. I don't know. Maybe it's not. Did you do
You
yoga? Like what was? It is. Okay. I
the
thought.
best
Okay.
yoga is like, oh my God, it's amazing because you have these open air studios because it's so humid. So it's like you're doing hot yoga.
So you're naturally just sweating. You're doing your yoga and you're sweating. And
Yeah, and you're sweating and you're like in the jungle and it's just my God, it was amazing. And I would do an hour and a half of yoga every morning before I would sit down at a cafe and write.
wow. Okay. So you do that in the morning. Get your day off right.
Yep.
Your
Yep.
yoga, like you said, you started to do when you're feeling depressed. You keep that going. I love it. And
Yep.
then you go to the cafe and write. Okay.
Yep. And that
Amazing.
was and then if there were days when it wasn't flowing and my body wasn't into it, I wasn't into it, I just close up my laptop, I go get a massage, go to a temple, walk around, it's sightsee because that's also how you get the creative juices flowing is it's you need to go out. I like to live an adventure while I'm writing. It makes it way more interesting.
Did you have fear when you left? Or was that you were just so excited that you didn't have the fear? Was there any kind of fear of going by yourself to this foreign country?
No, because before that, I'd kind of dipped my toe into solo traveling.
Okay.
Like I had already been solo traveling for a few years. Like I went to Iceland for a month. And so when I would leave for a month, because at that time my business wasn't mobile. So my parents would come and stay at my condo and my whole bedroom was like a drop shipping packaging room. So my parents would package up my stuff and then take it to the post office and I had all the inventory there. So my dad loved it. He thought it was so fun. And so yeah, so my parents would just, stay at my place and while I was gone. So I had already figured out that I'm fine on my own
Hmm.
and it's like I'm totally cool and I could do this. So leaving was not
That
scary
was
for
not
me.
a thing. You're probably excited about that, looking forward to it.
Yeah, my first solo trip was very scary.
Where was
My
that to,
first
if you don't mind me asking?
That was to Europe. I went in the winter and I went to, well, I see again, dipping toe in. I met up with my friend who lives in Belgium. He's from Belgium. So I met up with him and I even stayed with his family for a couple days. We went to Amsterdam and then his father took me to the train station and then I was off to Brussels by myself. And I was like, and then from Brussels, I went to Prague and Berlin. And so I did a few cities and Budapest, Prague, Berlin, and Budapest. I did all that by myself, which was like 2.5 weeks, probably. And then I flew to Italy because I have family in Italy and I spent Christmas with my family in Italy. So I broke it up and I
Hmm.
went to Europe because I know people, because I have family there. So I was able to feel secure. But then after that, after I was able to do that by myself, I'm like, oh gosh, I can go anywhere by myself now.
It's amazing. I've talked to a few solo travelers, and it's amazing the confidence. You talked about confidence earlier, what it does for people, the confidence that gives people traveling
It
by
really
themselves.
does. You want to build your confidence? Go solo travel. I swear, it really does. I know because people tell me, "Oh, you're so confident." Like this one guy said, "Oh, you must be really rich." We associated confidence with being rich. And I said, "No, I'm not. I mean, I hope I am someday." And he's like, "Most of the people I talk to that are as confident as you are really rich." And I was like, "Oh, that's interesting that you associate confidence with bank accounts." I was like, "I don't at all."
Yeah. Wow.
And but yeah, I think you build a lot because you know how to handle yourself in any situation when you can solo travel.
Absolutely. So I find it interesting because you decided you're like, okay, I'm going to write this book and I'm going to go abroad to do it. I'm going to go to Indonesia and Berlin. And I've never been to either of them, but they seem like two totally different places. Was there reasoning behind that? Like, what was the kind of like get different inspiration from each of those places?
Well, I had been to Berlin. Berlin was my first solo trip that I had been
Mm-hmm.
on. And I remember being there and I thought it was such a weird but kind of magical place. And I love history. So like the World War II
Oh yeah.
history and then the Berlin Wall and so I was like, this is so interesting and it's like an artist type of vibe and I was like, I want to live here for a little bit someday. I kind of made that decision. And then for my, when I decided I wanted to do 2 years abroad, I knew I didn't want to do anything familiar. So, Italy is my favorite country in the world, but I'm like, I'm not and when I lived in Berlin, I was, like, always traveling to Italy. But I was like, I don't want to live in Italy because it's too comfortable for me. I wanna do the uncomfortable. I'd never been to Southeast Asia. Berlin is a very, it's a colder culture. The climate, I wanted to live through a real winter because I'm from California. I wanted to test myself, like having, freeze your butt off in a big coat, like going to the subway and having to do all that. And so it was testing myself as well and knowing, oh, I can do this.
Wow. Tell me about the book. What's the book called? I think it's coming out real soon. Just kind of
Yes.
gives a little scoop of the book and what it's all about.
It's coming out May 13th and it's called Confused Girl, Find Your Peace in the Chaos. So, any confused girls listening to this, any man out there that has a confused girl in his life, go buy the book.
Absolutely.
But I mean, in this book, I kind of I write about all the things I've talked about here. And so much more and about manifesting and figuring out your destiny and getting in touch with your true nature and how to look at life as an adventure. And the premise of the book is that your confusion is actually your greatest virtue because I look at confusion as the fuel for your self-discovery journey.
Because you felt that yourself. You were confused. I think we're all confused in a way. I mean, I
We
don't, I think I've been confused. I'm still confused.
You were always that's the nature of life, right? Is as you go through it, you're confused, you get comfortable, you get grounded in something, then a problem arises or your life shifts in some sort of way and then you're confused about how you want to continue on. And I wanted to take the shame out of not having all the answers and being confused because actually by figuring it out and going on that journey, you're building yourself, you're building character, you're actually on your way to living the life that you dream of living. Like nobody's born has all the answers. Sorry, no one.
Be too easy that way, right?
Too easy.
Too easy. This is amazing. I've really enjoyed talking to you. I love too like the energy that you have. I can sense this has been something really important to you. If you spent 2 years writing this book, it's probably been in the works for a little while. Then, I mean, was it just the last 2 years, or has it been a minute since you
Oh my gosh,
thought of
I
this?
started it 7 years ago.
That's when that thought came that I'm going to write a book was 7 years ago, and here we are.
Actually, the thought came 8 years ago. I started writing it 7 years ago.
Wow, so it's been a work in progress for sure.
It really has been. And that's why when people are like, well, what are you doing next? I'm like, oh, I'm enjoying this because it's taken 7 years to get here.
I usually do ask about what the future is. Before I do that, though, because
Now
we
you know.
we'll get to that. I do want to ask you though about your dad because I know he passed away a few years ago. Just kind of tell me about him a little bit and kind of what that relationship, you said you're a daddy's girl, like just kind of, I just want to hear about your dad a little bit if you don't mind.
Yeah, so my dad came to this country when he was, I think, 26, 27. And how he opened up his first restaurant is like one of my favorite stories ever. So he would play poker with all of these, guys that would get really drunk. And my dad would pretend like he was drinking Jack and Coke, but it was just Coke. And he won like $14,000 from playing poker. And that's what he used to open up his first restaurant with my mom.
Wow. Playing sober poker.
Yeah, sober poker. There you go. And he wasn't a gambler. I mean, he'd like to go to Vegas and big spender, $100, on Russian roulette. And um so yeah, so him and my dad was in the kitchen and was the chef, and my mom was at the front of the house. And my father was such a hard worker. I mean, he worked like 18 hours a day. He was one of those people that just never stopped, like an Energizer bunny. It's like, this is not healthy to have this much energy. Really determined, really. There is a certain type of character that comes out of people in Europe that were closer to the time of the war,
Sure.
because he was born in 51, and I think the war ended in 45 or 46, something like that. And so he was born right after the war ended. So Italy and Europe was, people didn't have money, sometimes they didn't have food. It was crazy. And there was a hardness, there, like a survival. You need to survive. And unfortunately, I don't think my father was able to ever get over that and just kind of enjoy, which makes me sad, and probably why I'm trying so hard to really enjoy, because and I can enjoy because he made that my life easier than his was.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful for him. Like, I dedicated my book to my father.
I love it. It's beautiful. He's a hardworking man.
Hardworking man, very hardworking, yes.
But thank you for sharing that, because I know just the sense of a few of the things you wrote on your Instagram, and you just talked about your dad a lot. So I just wanted to hear about this awesome man that was your dad. So I appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me share that.
Definitely. So yeah, I do kind of want to know like what the future holds for you. You've got this book coming out. So yeah, everybody get the book. And is it Amazon? Like, where can people get the book? What's the best place to get the book?
Yeah, so you can order it on Amazon. It'll be in select stores May 13th. But right now you can order it on Amazon, Barnes and Noble too, online you can order it. I think even Target online you can order it. Excuse me, I'm just still getting over this cold.
No, no worries. Editing powers.
And you can go to my website, confusedgirlinthecity.com, and see the links for it. And I am doing a giveaway, a really fun giveaway. So if you pre-order the book before May 13th, you will enter to win a 2-night stay in Maui in an oceanfront room and a $100 gift card to my store.
Hey, all right. I love it. That's
Yes.
awesome.
Yeah.
Confusedgirlinthecity.com.
Yes. Yeah. And you'll see the giveaway there, the book there, everything's there.
Beautiful. Okay, awesome. Then what? You get the book out. I know you're trying to, and please enjoy it. And you deserve every right to enjoy it. I think this is awesome. I think it's great what you've done, and overcoming what you've overcome. I think is fantastic. But what do you think? You gonna keep the clothing line going? What kind of what's
Definitely keeping the clothing line going. I mean, for anybody who, wants some crystal inspired yoga pants or a cool crop hoodie that says choose love,
love it?
you can order it on my website. But, again, like I said, I'm not working toward anything new right now because I just want to enjoy. But of course, I have ideas. And I would just so love for this to be a TV show, especially because I worked in Hollywood. And I just think it would, and everybody who reads it goes, oh my God, this could be a TV show. This could, So, oh gosh, that would be so much fun. That would be so much. Oh, that would be incredible. So that would just be a trip. And then I want to write more books. I definitely have my next book idea, which would include more of my wild parents and some Irish Italian humor. And so I definitely do have a second book in mind as well.
For you, this is awesome. Any romantic things happening in your life?
No.
Nothing right now, huh?
And I'm okay with that. I'm like, if it's supposed to come in, it'll come in. When it's supposed to go, it'll go. When it's not supposed to come in, it won't come in. So I really don't care right now because I'm fully enjoying this, and I don't want anything to come in that's going to annoy me or hurt me, or is he talking to other girls, or is he, because that all comes with that. Does he really like me? Is he a sociopath? Is he a narcissist?
And I guess you said you have the
I have
experience with
that
the
experience.
sociopath.
Kind of like, it's like It's like when you meet somebody you like, it's all exciting for that moment. And then you go back home and you're like, you catch yourself, you're like, oh, wait, I like them. Oh, shoot. Okay. Well, now it's time to investigate a little bit. Like, now I got to figure out if this is safe.
I got to see if he's got a
Like,
fiance or not.
right? Does he have children? Does he have a different life? Is he a con artist? Is he, let's do a credit check. He has no social media. Okay. He's definitely a sociopath with like a second life. Yeah. It's kind of nice not to be bothered with that. Yeah. Kind of enjoying that right now.
So where you're at now, and if you could look back to, 21-year-old self coming out of USC, you're about to get into Hollywood, knowing that there's going to be some struggles ahead, and maybe it's just somebody totally different. Maybe there's a young girl out there or young lady who's doing the same thing, about to graduate. She's confused. She's a confused girl in the city. Maybe it's at some other school somewhere else back east. What kind of advice, what would you tell them? What would you say, as they embark on their adventure of life and they're confused?
I honestly, I would say just try things. Like if something interests you, try it. Like now to me, I did the right thing. I was interested in the entertainment industry. I was curious about that and I did that. Then I was curious about, do I really want to take over my family business? And I did that. And I needed to check those off of my list. I needed to be at peace with the fact that those were not the things for me. And because I fell into feeling guilty about having tried things and have wasted time. Don't feel guilty, because you can recreate your life at any moment. And that is actually a beautiful thing about where women are right now, is they don't have to follow a certain path like we used to. You could, women are recreating their life at 70 and writing books women are now talking about menopause when they never did before. There's more information about that out there. I mean, it's like you have a whole life ahead of you. So don't worry if something doesn't work out or you make a mistake. And the most important thing is to get in touch with your true nature and just learn as much as you can about yourself and trust your intuition. If it doesn't feel something doesn't feel right, it's probably not right. If this guy, you feel like there's something off about him, giving you the creeps, run. Don't walk, run. Trust that. Trust your intuition. That's like a very innate thing that is in all of us.
I love it. Giovanna, this has been fascinating. I love what you're doing. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for coming on Journey with Jake.
Thank you so much, Jake. You're awesome. Thank you.
A huge thank you to my guest, Giovanna Silvestre. Funny enough, before our conversation, I was feeling pretty drained after a tough day at work, and Giovanna was just getting over a cold. We were both really low on energy, but once we started talking, that all changed. Giovanna truly brought the energy, and she said the same about our chat. It was a great reminder of just how uplifting these conversations can be. I hope you'll check out her new book, Confused Girl, Find Your Peace in the Chaos. It officially launches on May 3rd, but you can pre-order it now. And when you do, you'll be entered to win a 2-night stay in Maui and a $100 gift card to her store. Just visit confusedgirlinthecity.com for all the details on the book and her clothing line. And be sure to follow her on Instagram at ConfusedGirlLA. Thanks again, Giovanna, for sharing your amazing journey with all of us. And of course, thank you for tuning in. Whether you've been with me for a while or this is your first time listening, I truly appreciate you. I hope you'll come back for more. Speaking of coming back, I'll be here next week with a brand new episode featuring Jenna Udenberg. Jenna uses a wheelchair to get around, but that hasn't stopped her from seeking out adventure. She's hitting the trails with her Rio Mobility Firefly wheelchair, and I can't wait for you to hear her inspiring story. Just remember, it's not always about the destination as it is about the journey. Take care, everybody.